Well, Bheki Mtolo is the provincial secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. As you know, the ANC in KZN has strongly supported former President Zuma. Mr. Mtolo, good afternoon to you, sir, and I really appreciate the time. The court says in its judgment that the former president must go back to jail. We've just spoken to an advocate who suggests that the former president must serve some time in jail. How do you see today's ruling?
No, thanks very much. Good afternoon to viewers. I think the people of South Africa are very unlucky to get people who are educated, who are specialists in some of the things. Instead of following what they've learned from universities, they follow their personal views. I have an opportunity to study the judgment extensively. One thing that I think the judgment is well crafted and is well thought of the Supreme Court of Appeal. I think we must applaud the judges. One thing that they've dealt with is that was former President Zuma given a medical parole under the normal legal prescripts. What they've found is that an inmate who is incarcerated less than 24 months does not even need to go to an intensive medical evaluation. The discretion to release such an inmate who is under incarceration, who is serving a sentence less than 24 months, the discretion is on the commissioner. The commissioner has got wide powers to decide. They further found that paragraph 5 of the order of the court that to release him on medical parole and all that, they found that that was a wide powers that the court gave itself, and they were starting to undermine the doctrine of the separation of powers, because the decision under that environment of somebody who serve a sentence less than 24 months solely rest on the executive arm of the state, meaning exercised by the commissioner on behalf of the minister. That's what they've said. Then, if you go to paragraph 60, for example, because that's where I think many people, even those who are called advocates, I don't know why they missed this thing. Then the court said, because they've found that he was given a medical parole, yet he was an inmate who was not serving a 24 months imprisonment and above. He was not supposed to be given a medical parole for the first instance. Then they declared that medical parole invalid. Then they said, because they've declared that invalid, automatically it means his conditions are the same before he was released. It means he must go back to prison. But they therefore said that the determination of the time he spent in prison and outside prison is not for the court to decide. It's for the decision of the commissioner to decide. The commissioner was therefore by the court given wide discretionary powers that he can now, in determining the correct parole, not medical parole, a normal parole, the commissioner can now count the time he was serving under the supervision of correctional services at home. It literally meaning, to me it's an academic exercise, if I can put it that way. The court was just doing an academic exercise. What it literally means is that the commission has got what powers. He can now count those things, and he can release him even at 7 o'clock today.
But Mr. Mtolo, the court or the ruling also says the effect of the setting aside of this declarator is that once the order in this appeal is handed down, Mr. Zuma's position as it was prior to his release on medical parole will be reinstated. In other words,
yes, it
goes back to... I'm sorry, Mr. Mtolo, if I may just make my point. If I may make my point, it takes him back to the decision before the decision was made. And before the decision was made, whether we like it or not, before the decision he was in the Escort Correctional Centre.
I think I've said that to myself. I don't know why you think when it's said by you it's going to be listened and be used correctly. I've said that the court said because they've declared the medical parole as unlawful, it means his conditions are before that decision was made. But remember, they were dealing with procedural matters, not on merits, that did he qualify for parole or not. They were dealing that he was given a parole, of a medical parole, which only qualifies inmates who are serving a sentence of 24 months and above. Now, he's serving 15 months. He was qualifying to an ordinary parole, which is a wide discretion of the commissioner. Literally meaning, for him to be undergoing that medical evaluation and intensive analysis, it was wrong in the first instance. Then that's what I'm saying. even if he can drive from Kandla to escort, while he's driving, passing a show, the commissioner can release him by. The commissioner can decide to say, okay, because he was under my supervision, he could not be free, he was not a free man. Then I'm counting those months. Then while he can be turned back from a show to say, no, go back, you are now released. Nothing happens.
Okay.
Then you are square one. It's an academic exercise.
Well, let's see what happens. I don't know if the legal people I've spoken to agree with you, but I know there'll be lots of different legal views on this too.
No, why do you think I'm not a legal person?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I mean, we've just spoken to a lawyer 2 minutes ago.
We all went to the same law school with the lawyers. Fine.
Okay. Let me ask you a different question, more of a political question, if I may, because I'm speaking to you as a political person too. It seems to me, sir, that this is going to go all the way to the Constitutional Court. Will you respect whatever the final decision is? If the Correctional Services Commissioner says, Mr. Former President, sir, you do have to come back to jail, and the judges say that that is the correct decision, would you respect that decision or not?
Now, I want us to name the child before he's born. There's not even an application for leave to appeal. There's nothing. There's no court before the Constitutional Court. Now, how do you name a child without even knowing the child's going to be a girl or a boy? You want me to name a child before the child is born. In fact, before the child is conceived.
Mr. Mtolo, you said in your statement today, if I understood it correctly, that you believe the former President Zuma must enjoy his retirement in peace. You said that, right?
No, not today. I've said it all the time. We've said it all the time.
Well,
we're repeating what we've said it for all these years.
Well, I put it to you, sir, that you're saying that when he still faces the proceedings here from the Correctional Services Commissioner, and he still faces legal charges due to the corruption case. I'm suggesting to you, sir, that you're putting the result before the final decision by judges.
No, that's your problem. You are asking me what will we do if the matter goes to Constitutional Court. I'm saying to you, want us to name a child before the child is born, without even knowing if the child is going to be a male or a female. Then I'm saying there's not even an application filed for leave to appeal in the Supreme Court of Appeal. There's no court before the Constitutional Court. But you want me to decide what will happen, or something that does not exist.
Well, I would like you to state for the record, sir, that you believe in the rule of law and that it applies to everybody.
What do you mean I must state it on record that I believe in the rule of law? We believe in the rule of law. You know I believe in the rule of law. Why when I say it on TV, you think it's going to carry more weight?
Because in this case, I think that some people believe that former president should be above the law. I'm not suggesting you are one of them. I'm trying to find out if you are. When you say that
I've never heard somebody who have said up front that President Zuma must be above the law or any other person. It only exists in your head, and then you must try to deal with that in your head. There's no such a person. But you can name us. Who's that person?
All right.
You say President Zuma must be above the law.
I've asked you the question. You've given me an answer. The power of
now, can you see that you were lying? You were telling public lies. That there's somebody who says Zuma must be above the law. Why do you have to lie? To tell society lies?
I completely and utterly reject your insinuation that I was lying. The fact
who says, name one person who have said on record Jacob Zuma must be above the law. Name one person.
No.
Out of 60 million South Africans.
Sir, that's not what I said. What I was getting to.
That's what you said. You said, I must say it on record that I respect the rule of law. When I asked you, why do you think I don't? You said because there are other people who say Zuma must be above the law. I'm saying name one.
My question was...
You don't have one because you were lying.
My question was, would you respect a ruling by the Constitutional Court in this case? And you refused to answer.
We have respected a lot of ruling by the Constitutional Court. We have respected a lot of ruling by any court, magistrate court, labor court, labor appeal court, high court, North Gauteng High Court, South Gauteng High Court, Pietermaritzburg High Court, Durban High Court. Why do you think this time we're not going to? But don't run away. You lied that there are people in this country who say Zuma must be above the law. You can't even give one name.
All right, I'm going to move on from this. I've got one more question from you, if I may put it to you. The power of this story, what people are scared of in this story, is what happened when the former president went to jail last year, and you'll remember the violence in KwaZulu-Natal and the violence in Gauteng. And I think people are very worried that today's decision could lead to more violence like that, or if the former president had to go back to jail, there'll be more violence like that. Do you worry about that, or do we not need to worry about that in your view? I'm asking for your political understanding.
Is that question that is mobilizing violence? is that question. That question is dangerous because that question is strategically underground, mobilize violence. Why people they should do violence? Because they know that July unrest was one of the painful things that has ever happened to this country. But that question alone is mobilizing violence. It's dangerous. You must never ask that question again.
So I don't understand how asking a question can be dangerous. You're going to have to explain that to me, please.
You are mobilizing violence. Why do you mobilize violence? Instead of saying, why are we going to, at least if your question was saying, what is it that you are going to do as the ANC to make sure that whatever the Supreme Court decision, everything goes smooth. You are putting the word violence because you are mobilizing it deliberately, strategically. Stop mobilizing violence. Don't use this media newsroom, which is so powerful to mobilize violence. Violence is dangerous. We must all discourage violence. Don't mobilize it.
Bheki Mtolo, I'm going to leave it there, sir. Thank you for your time. The Provincial Secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal.